Hokage Hidden Ace, the time-traveling Hyuga who outshines Madara. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 11. Tsunade-sama, please calm down, I'm just a child. Shimura Danzo really had nothing to say and was immediately angered. In the lounge of Konoha Hospital, Shizuchi was drinking juice leisurely and reading a book with relish. As a weak medical ninja with degraded bloodstains, Jingyi felt that he should make some puppets to enhance his own strength and protect his own safety. Bump. The door to the lounge was pushed open with force and hit the wall with a loud noise. Jingyi, who was sitting in the lounge reading a book, shivered and almost threw the book in his hand as a shuriken. Looking back, it was Tsunade. And it was Tsunade who was in an angry state. What's wrong is this? Jingyi thought it was better to stay away, so he took the book and prepared to run away. Where are you going? Jingyi's plan to escape failed and was blocked by Tsunade. I treated 2 patients today, and I'm going to the ward to see how they are recovering. Jingyi made excuses for herself. At this time, Tsunade was obviously angry, so it was better not to be alone with her. The city gate has been set on fire. If you continue to stay in the lounge, there is a possibility of harming Chiyu. Tsunade looked at Jingyi with strange eyes. Without any preparation, a face suddenly came up to her. Tsunade-sama, please calm down. I am still a child, please don't be impulsive. Jingyi activated the backup tactic and raised his hand to prevent Tsunade from getting closer to him. The 2 faces were almost touching each other. Shut up. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, and several black lines appeared on her forehead. She raised her fist and waved it, and said angrily, I just want to see your eyes, don't be as dirty as Jiraiya. Look into my eyes? That's okay, just take a look. Jingyi breathed a sigh of relief, and his thumping heart finally fell back. Seeing Jingyi's relieved expression, she pressed her chest a few times with both hands. Tsunade suddenly wanted to hit someone. You little brat, do you think I want to take advantage of you? Seeing that Tsunade was really about to explode, Jingyi quickly spread his hands and explained, just kidding, don't hit anyone. This joke isn't funny. Tsunade gritted her teeth and stared at him. Jingyi said that I was innocent. It is deeper, has a unique attraction, and is full of mystery that makes people want to know more. After staring into Jingyi's eyes for a while, Tsunade felt that something was wrong, very wrong. Is this bloodstain degradation or bloodstain evolution? If it weren't for the fact that the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan had never evolved, Tsunade would have doubted whether Shizuchi's eyes evolved together with the Sharingan. Throwing the documents in her hand casually on the table, Tsunade leaned against the table, pondered for a moment, and asked, are the sequelae of Byakugan degeneration still serious? Jing gave a half-truthful answer, there will be occasional stinging, but it is not as strong as the initial injury, and the vision of the eye has not been affected. Yeah? Tsunade observed Jingyi's expression and eyes carefully. She wanted to know if Jingyi was hiding anything. Is there something on my face? Jingyi knew what Tsunade was thinking, but he would not reveal any flaws, because the script had been set from the beginning of his time travel, and Jingyi had already deduced various possible plots countless times. He can respond flexibly to corresponding situations. No. Maybe she was overthinking it. Tsunade shook her head, her whole body suddenly became like an eggplant beaten by frost, a little wilted. Damn it, these guys, if you don't understand, you should stop giving random orders. The same goes for the old man. He actually listened to their advice. It's so annoying. Are the higher-ups up to something? There is no need to guess the old man in Tsunade's mouth, he must be the 3rd Hokage, and those guys are, not surprisingly, the other members of the F4 Heavenly Group. Is it about the reform of the medical department and Konoha Hospital? Shizuchi had heard Tsunade say this before, but the 3rd Hokage had already considered it earlier, and he didn't expect the reform to come so soon. See for yourself. Tsunade lay directly on the table and pushed the file just thrown on the table towards Jingyi. Jingyi picked up the file and opened it, looking at it carefully. Hi, good guy. After scanning the contents of the file a few times, Jingyi couldn't help but call him a good guy. The threshold for medical ninjas is high, and each village does not have a complete training system. Therefore, the training progress of medical ninjas has been very slow, and the number of medical ninjas in each village is also pitiful. So F4 Tiantuan proposed reforms, and the reform proposal was initiated by the old lady Koharu. The content of the reform is that the training of medical ninjas will be transformed from a teacher training apprentice, step-by-step teaching model to batch education, which is the so-called assembly line model education. Gather a group of talented ninjas, and have experienced medical ninjas serve as teachers to educate these apprentices. Aren't you afraid of breaking your eggs? Jingyi closed the document. Isn't this span a bit too big? I told you that the old man didn't want to listen to me. He said that the medical department needs reforms to make progress. Tsunade began to pound the table angrily. Perhaps it was the reform of the ninja school that gave the F4 team enough confidence to move to the dormitory. Koharu immediately focused on the medical department. Can't you manage your logistics department well? Why would you reach out to the medical department if you have nothing to do? You will have a hard time in the future. Jingyi looked at Tsunade's eyes and couldn't help but feel sympathy. The person most affected by the reform of the medical department is Tsunade. Fortunately, it has nothing to do with me. There are too few medical ninjas? I can only suffer from Tsunade. As long as he is not exhausted, he will use it to death. Jingyi decisively put down the file, picked up his book, and continued reading. This kid. Jingyi's reaction made Tsunade laugh out loud. Tsunade slapped the table with dissatisfaction and asked, "You brat, shouldn't you contribute to the reform of the medical department? Also, why do you want to read a book about puppet masters and puppet making? Don't tell me. Because your bloodstains are degraded, you want to become a puppet ninja? As a weak medical ninja with degraded blood, isn't it reasonable to make some puppets to protect yourself? What medical department, what reforms? I don't know anything about it. I'm just a young apprentice who has just started training, and I don't dare to get involved in such a big thing. Is it reasonable? That's so reasonable." Tsunade wanted to curse. It's almost time, get ready to get off work. Before Shizuchi could react, he was forced to leave work by Tsunade Haim. Hurry up. It hurts, you bastards of Uchiha, you actually attacked the villagers. I'm going to the Hokage office building to complain against you. Before Jingyi, who was forced to get off work, walked out of the hospital, he encountered people from the police department hurriedly carrying several patients into the hospital lobby. What's going on? Tsunade, who was about to accompany Jingyi to get off work, stepped forward. After checking the patient's injuries, she frowned and said, "There are multiple fractures and extensive muscle damage. Did your police department go too hard?" Tsunade wouldn't care if the person being attacked was an enemy, but the opponent was a Konoha villager. "Tsunade-sama, this is our fault." The police captain who led the team to the hospital apologized sincerely. Standing aside, Jingyi discovered that this team leader was not Uchiha's young patriarch, Uchiha Fugaku. "Tsunade-sama, you have to make the decision for us, Uchiha's bastards beat us." Faced with the patient's questioning, Uchiha Fugaku, who was still the young patriarch, was obviously a little nervous. It could be seen from his clenched fists that the young patriarch was very uneasy when facing the accusation. The work of the police department is indeed a bit frustrating. This is clearly a frame-up. The behavior of Uchiha people is a bit arrogant, but Uchiha people will not target the civilians of the village for no reason. On the contrary, among many families, Uchiha is considered to be a relatively friendly family to ordinary people, at least much better than a corrupt family like Hyuga. What did you say? Being framed and accused by the patient, Uchiha Fugaku did not choose to argue. He could control himself, but his teammates could not. The Uchiha ninja standing behind Uchiha Fugaku was furious when he heard this. Episode 12. Do you think Konoha F4 is only targeting Uchiha? You three bastards got drunk in the tavern, refused to pay, and injured many people in the tavern, including the tavern owner. After people from our police department arrived, not only did you not cooperate with law enforcement, you also insulted us, and even insulted our young patriarch and old patriarch. Even if he is insulted, even the young and old patriarchs of the family are insulted. As long as he is an Uchiha, he can't bear it. So the arrest process was a little more forceful, which resulted in the situation in front of us. Not bad, you dare to insult even the young patriarch and patriarch of other families, and you even forgot your own last name after drinking a few ounces of wine? Tsunade looked at the three patients with somewhat unfriendly eyes. She is not an F4 member, and she has no intention of not wanting to see Uchiha. When encountering this kind of thing, it is basically a matter of business, and she will not favor the other side just because the higher-ups are targeting Uchiha. Too bad. Seeing Tsunade's expression change, the three patients who were brought to the hospital quickly became miserable. "Ah, my hand is broken. My hand is broken. It hurts so much." The people in Uchiha viciously beat the villagers. "That's enough," Tsunade said with a cold face, not spoiling the other party because they were injured at all. Carry them in immediately for treatment, and the cost of treatment will be charged to themselves. Uchiha Fugaku, right? Tsunade-sama. Not being targeted, Uchiha Fugaku breathed a sigh of relief. When Tsunade called his name, he quickly stepped forward. Tsunade said seriously to Uchiha Fugaku, although the other party has gone out of line, you should not be so harsh. After the treatment of the three of them is completed, take the person to the police department and decide how to deal with it. How to deal with it. Also, send your own people to the Hokage office building to report on this matter. Since you are causing trouble, beating people, resisting arrest, and insulting people, you must be punished. You cannot escape just because you are injured. After the treatment of several patients, the punishment they deserve will not be less. As for the police department, they also need to send someone to the Hokage office to report. As for whether the third Hokage will punish people from the police department, this is not something Tsunade needs to worry about. Yes. This result is very conscientious for the people of Uchiha and does not take sides. Uchiha Fugaku obediently accepted. Okay, let's all disperse. There's nothing to see. Tsunade cut through the mess quickly and settled the matter. If possible, she didn't want to intervene in these nonsense. But she knew that if she didn't come forward, the trouble might get bigger and bigger, and Uchiha would be punished by the higher-ups. The villagers who insulted Uchiha's young and old patriarchs wouldn't have an easy time either. Don't think that Uchiha is a soft persimmon. You have gone too far. If others are looking at you, you can just find a few excuses to fix it and that's enough for you to enjoy. Not to mention directly killing you secretly. As long as there is no evidence, who can prove that it was Uchiha who did it? Uchiha may not care about ordinary insults. After all, what the police department does is easy to offend people, and Uchiha people have long been used to it. But it's your fault if you scold other people's young and old patriarchs. This is really asking for death. After dealing with this ridiculous incident, Tsunade and Jingyi left the hospital together. As soon as she walked out of the hospital gate, Tsunade began to complain. The voice of dissatisfaction with Uchiha in the village is getting louder and louder, and the Hokage office and the elders have not come forward to deal with it. If this continues, sooner or later something will happen. Complaints are complaints, but Tsunade has no way to intervene. Although she has a special status, this is a matter that can only be handled by the Hokage and the elders. She cannot cross the line casually. To be precise, the voices of dissatisfaction with some ninja families are getting louder and louder. Shizuchi reminded Tsunade. Do you think F4 is only targeting Uchiha? No, you are wrong. Almost most of the ninja families have been enveloped, and only the Hokage faction families such as Sarutobi, Shimura, and Inokachi can be left aside. The Hyuga clan also has this problem? Tsunade, who rarely pays attention to this, was a little surprised. That's it for Uchiha. After all, the police department is Uchiha's exclusive department. The police department is responsible for maintaining public order. It is easy to have conflicts with villagers. If more people are offended, there will be a lot of dissatisfaction. But Hyuga doesn't. It's always been there. Jingyi shook his head and said, many villagers think that the Hyuga clan are superior and do not take them seriously. However, the Hyuga clan also has its own problems. It is indeed too isolated and arrogant. It shouldn't be. Uchiha can also understand why the Hyuga clan got into such trouble for no reason. Tsunade didn't understand. Could it be? Subconsciously, Tsunade looked up towards the Hokage office building. Probably the work of the Hokage office. What's more interesting is that ninja families like Sarutobi and Shimura are becoming more and more popular in the village. Don't do this. Do you really think I don't know you are giving me eye drops? Tsunade is not an idiot. After hearing this, he glared at Jingyi. Have you found the house? Do you need my help? Found it, we'll move tomorrow. Jingyi laughed and changed the topic. That's good. I'll help you move some things tomorrow. By the way, walk faster. I'm going to starve to death. No, you are hungry, you go to eat, why are you following me? You're addicted to eating for free, right? Facts have proved that Tsunade is indeed addicted to eating. Looking at a certain Konoha princess devouring her food, Jingyi felt that if this Konoha princess made a mukbang show, no one would suspect that she was faking it. How do you stuff a chicken drumstick that is so spicy and big into one without getting stuck in your throat? Why are you staring at me? Aren't you hungry? As soon as the little mouth turned, the clean bones were spit out on the table. A big chicken leg goes in and only a bone comes out. This ventriloquism is awesome. Your boyfriend will definitely be happy in the future. With an inexplicable sigh, Jingyi joined the ranks of grabbing food, because if he didn't grab it, it would be gone. As God can testify, he cooked a meal for 4 people, but Tsunade almost finished it all by herself. Kid, I suspect you are thinking about some unclean things. Intuition told Tsunade that the good-looking boy in front of her had a little problem with her thinking. No, absolutely not, I am complimenting you. Ha! Do you think I will believe it? If you don't believe me, I'm sorry, you don't have a boyfriend anyway. These words were somewhat heartbreaking, and Tsunade wanted to stab Jingyi to death with chopsticks. Whichever pot is not opened, which pot should be picked up, right? Episode 13. When in doubt, do you fist first? After finishing the meal for 3 people, Tsunade fell on the sofa and let out a satisfied sound. Jingyi seriously suspected that this girl didn't eat anything but was just waiting for a meal, and then ate a big meal. Fortunately, Kushina has bought a lot of things recently, otherwise Tsunade's food expenses would be a lot of money. But this woman couldn't control her hands, and her pocket was cleaner than her face. Asking her for food expenses is simply wishful thinking. It would be a good thing if she doesn't come back to you to borrow some gambling money. Speaking of which, I haven't seen the little rich woman for 2 days. What is the little rich woman doing? Say chow chow, and chow chow will come. As soon as Jingyi took care of the house's hygiene, he saw the little rich woman he was talking about coming. Kushina seemed to be in a bad mood today. She was listless, with a hint of sadness between her brows. Shizuchi, Sister Tsunade. Kushina seemed weak even when she said hello. What's wrong? Who bullied you? Tell your sister and she will help you beat him up. Seeing Kushina like this, Tsunade rolled over and jumped up from the sofa, hugged her in her arms and comforted her. Did that kid Naoki make you angry again? Don't be afraid. I'll help you beat him up and make sure he's safe. I haven't dared to approach you for 10 days and a half. Although now Shu likes his sister Kushina very much, boys aged 7 or 8 are at the age where people hate dogs. To put it bluntly, every dog that passes by has to be kicked. After Kushina came to Konoha, the tree often made her cry. Really? Kushina looked up at Tsunade expectantly. Of course, I'm your sister Tsunade. Who dares to bully you? I'll help you get back on your feet. It's Grandma Mito. You're kidding me. Tsunade's energy disappeared in an instant, and she decisively let go of Kushina's hand. She lay back on the sofa like a salted fish, turned her back to Kushina and waved. You should go find someone else. I don't dare to help you. Your Grandma Mito will bully me as well, and your sister Tsunade is not capable of helping you vent your anger. If it were anyone else, Tsunade would still be able to act recklessly, but the person who bullied Kushina was Uzumaki Mito. It's better to give up the idea as soon as possible, otherwise even I, Tsunade, won't be able to escape. Sister Tsunade, your words don't count. Kushina stared at her back aggrievedly. Tsunade simply pretended to be asleep, and I saw nothing and heard nothing. The funny interactions between the 2 sisters directly made Jingyi laugh. Jingyi smiled and rubbed Kushina's head and asked, Kushina, why did Mito-sama bully you? Is it because you were spanked for being naughty? How is that possible? As soon as these words came out, Kushina shook her head vigorously. I am the most obedient and will not make Grandma Mito angry by being naughty, so Grandma Mito will not spank me. Finished. Kushina frowned and sighed. Jingyi, Grandma Mito wants me to go to ninja school tomorrow, but I don't want to go to school. That won't work. You have to go to ninja school. You have to go. Tsunade turned over and sat up, and said to Kushina seriously, Kushina, you have to understand Grandma's intentions, you know? When you go to the ninja school, you can learn a lot of new knowledge and meet a lot of new friends and classmates. Jonin school, learn new knowledge, get to know more people, have classmates, and even future companions and friends. This will allow Kushina to integrate into Konoha more smoothly. After all, Uzumaki Mito can't hold on for a few more years. If Kushina doesn't think about Konoha, it may bring great hidden dangers. But what should I do if my new classmates don't welcome me? Kushina's face dropped. This. Tsunade scratched her head in distress, and she began to recall how she got along with her classmates. It seems like a fist? Yes, I beat the annoying Jiraiya to tears on the first day of school. When I got home, I was scolded by my grandma. Use fists to meet new classmates? Kushina definitely has this ability, but can she integrate into it smoothly? No, Kushina can't be too violent. Tsunade shook her head vigorously to get rid of the messy thoughts in her mind. You kid is very good at talking, it's your turn, and besides, you are Kushina's only friend in the village. Tsunade winked at Shizuchi and told her to stop watching the show and help quickly. Kushina, you are starting from the wrong point. Jingyi, who could no longer continue watching the show, coughed and corrected Kushina. Ah. The little rich woman was stunned for a moment. Did I start from the wrong point? Yes. Jingyi snapped his fingers, bent down, and asked Kushina to look eye level with him. Think about it, your first priority in going to ninja school is to learn, and everything else is secondary. Yeah? Kushina felt that there was something wrong with what she said. After thinking about it carefully, she felt that it made sense. Tsunade felt that Shizuchi wasn't holding anything back. Then what if my classmates don't welcome me and even want to bully me? Kushina asked weakly. When she first came to Konoha, her activities were limited to Senju's ancestral home, the vegetable market, and Shizu's family. She knew and was familiar with only a few people. She was a little scared when she thought of going to a strange school and meeting new people. Jingyi grinned, showing 2 rows of white teeth, and put his big hand on Kushina's little head. Remember one thing, Kushina, sometimes fists can solve many problems. I knew it. Tsunade patted her forehead speechlessly. Kushina's big eyes flashed. Is it really possible? Of course. If anyone dares to deliberately provoke you and make fun of you, just beat him up. If anyone dares to give you an unpleasant nickname, don't hesitate to beat him severely, even to death. If the teacher or the other party's parents come to you, just say that your sister is Tsunadeheim. Just let them find Tsunadeheim to reason with, and there are also good yellow hairs with ill intentions. Hyuga Jingyi. You've had enough. Tsunade couldn't listen anymore. Damn it, how can anyone educate children like this? When in doubt, do you fist first? Beat me hard, beat me to death, and then take out my backer after the beating. What can you do to me? What a mess. Ahem. Tsunadeheim went crazy, so Jingyi calmed down a little and whispered in Kushina's ear, this is how the former Tsunadeheim met her new classmates. I hide. Tsunade kicked her hard, and Shizuchi, who had been prepared for it, ran away. Leaving a furious Tsunade and an eye-opening Kushina, the little rich woman felt like she understood something. Can all problems be solved with fists? Kushina was almost carried away, and Tsunade took her away angrily. Jingyi stood at the door and winked at Kushina, making a fist gesture. Kushina nodded with a smile. I hope no naughty child will risk his life tomorrow. Episode 14. Kushina beats up the naughty kid. The little rich woman looks weak and easy to bully, but in fact, the violence factor hidden in her bones is no less than Tsunade's. When the little rich woman who has been given some advice comes to school, if she is teased by her classmates, nicknamed her TSK 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 TSK, something very interesting will happen. Kushina, don't listen to Hyuga Shizuchi's nonsense. Although fists can solve many problems, we girls can't use our fists all the time. Do you understand? On the way home, Tsunade tried her best to persuade Kushina. Kushina asked in confusion, then why does Tsunade-sen use her fists to communicate with her classmates? Tsunade wanted to rush back and beat Shizuchi. Look what you teach. Today is the day of moving. Jingyi got up early in the morning and started packing, bringing everything he needed. I have to say that the seal scroll is a great invention. It can be used directly as storage equipment. The only disadvantage is that it is too expensive and cannot be reused. Stuff everything you can use into the scroll. When I got to my new home, I took out everything and put it away one by one. At this point, Jingyi's move is completely over. Are you looking for help? Not needed at all. After moving, Jingyi started to prepare breakfast for herself. At the same time, Kushina, who was worried and uneasy, was sent to the ninja school with a small school bag on her back. Dear students, a transfer student came to our class today. I hope you can get along well with her. Kushina, please say hello to everyone first. The teacher of the 3rd grade junior class, Isamu Sarutobi, took Kushina into the classroom. Looking at the classroom full of strange children, Kushina was a little nervous. Hi, everyone, my name is Kushina, Uzumaki Kushina. I come from the Uzumaki clan. Nice to meet you all. What kind of family is the Uzumaki clan? I've never heard of it, but her hair is actually red. Yes, red hair is so ugly, just like Chili Pepper, little Chili Pepper, haha. Suddenly a transfer student came to the class. The students in the class were very surprised. A few naughty students even started to make fun of Kushina and laugh at her hair. Honda, don't laugh at your classmates. Sarutobi Isamu really wanted to give this boy a big D ******. You mocked your new classmates like this in front of me? And even gave them nicknames? Do you still have a teacher in your eyes? I'm not wrong. Xiao Honda looked dissatisfied. Isamu Sarutobi felt deeply helpless. Children of this age group were not easy to educate. Some children had very naughty personalities, and teachers had no good solution for this. Just scold him, the other party may not care, but he may feel it is unnecessary to start teaching him a lesson directly. Jingyi is right, you should talk to these people with your fists. As soon as she introduced herself, she was laughed at and even given the nickname Little Pepper. Kushina's little fists were clenched hard. Kushina, please go down and find an empty seat to sit down. After scolding the noisy students, Isamu Sarutobi lowered his head and gave Kushina an awkward smile. When something like this happens, in addition to the naughty students, he, the teacher, also bears a certain responsibility because he failed to teach well. Thank you, teacher. Kushina politely thanked her and walked off the podium. He is a good and polite boy. Sarutobi Muyu nodded happily. Just the next second, the smile on his face froze. Because Kushina, who was walking by Honda, suddenly got angry and punched him in the face. The sudden punch made everyone stunned. Even Honda, who suffered a nosebleed, was stunned. Was I beaten by a transfer student? Little Pepper? You like pepper, right? You like to laugh at people, right? Since he has moved his hands, he must be beaten hard, and beaten to death. Kushina remembered what Jingyi taught him, so she grabbed Honda's hair and punched him one after another. Wow. It hurts. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. After receiving several punches in succession, Honda cried out in pain, and the students around him were stunned. A certain little yellow guy sitting in the second to last row opened his mouth slightly. He couldn't believe that the transfer student who seemed so cute just now turned into a grumpy little pepper. Kushina, stop, don't beat your classmates. Sarutobi Muyu couldn't believe that this kind of thing would happen in his classroom. After being stunned for a moment, he hurriedly stopped it. But Kushina had no intention of stopping. As a last resort, Sarutobi ran forward and tried to pull Kushina away. However, before Sarutobi Isamu could touch Kushina, Kushina turned around and shouted, "My sister is Tsunade." The outstretched hand froze in midair, and Sarutobi Muyu was dumbfounded. So arrogant? On the first day of school, because he was teased by his classmates, he immediately beat them up. When the teacher wanted to stop him, he moved his patron out. My sister is Tsunade. I have to say that my sister is Tsunade, which is a bit of a deterrent. Who among the ninjas in Konoha doesn't know that Tsunade Hime, the princess of Konoha, has a bad temper? If you bully her sister, you are simply seeking death. Stop, even if your sister is Tsunade, you can't beat your classmates like this. When Honda had two of his front teeth knocked out, Isamu Sarutobi grabbed Kushina and successfully separated her from the victim. After successfully beating up the classmates who laughed at her, Kushina became more and more angry as she thought about it and stared at the people who had just laughed at her. None of you can escape, just wait for me. Oh my god. Sarutobi Isamu felt that his brain was about to explode. Is this child such a bad-tempered child? She is indeed Tsunade Hime's younger sister. Asking the teacher of the next class to send the injured student to the hospital for treatment, Isaru Sarutobi went to the Hokage office in person to report the matter. What did you say? The third Hokage thought he heard wrongly. Kushina, because she was teased by her classmates, she beat them up and threatened you with Tsunade? Is this the Kushina I know? In third Hokage's memory, Kushina was a shy little girl with a weak personality who was easily bullied. The results were astonishing. Yes. Sarutobi Isamu was on the verge of tears. If something like this happened, his year-end bonus would definitely be ruined. Hokage-sama, is Kushina doing this because of Tsunade-sama's influence? Third Hokage. You ask me, who the hell am I asking? On the first day of school, Tsunade operated on Jiraiya and beat him up severely. On the first day of school, Kushina knocked out all the front teeth of her classmates. Go to Konoha Hospital in person, tell Tsunade about this, and let her handle it on her own. It is normal for children to fight, but Kushina has a special status, so she reported it to the Hokage office. After thinking about it, third Hokage decided to leave the matter to Tsunade. Tsunade's worst fear happened. When Sarutobi Muyu came to Konoha Hospital, Tsunade had just arrived at the hospital. Episode 15. Did you just say that my sister was rude? I knew it. Hyuga Jingyi. Look at the good things you did. The angry Tsunade rushed to the lounge and kicked open the door of the lounge. Kushina was laughed at by her classmates and then beat her so hard that her front teeth were knocked out. The old man asked me to deal with it. How do you want me to deal with it? There is still a lot of trouble waiting for me at the medical department. If you don't help, you are still looking for trouble for me. Jingyi, who was changing clothes in the lounge, put on his white coat calmly and then asked. On the first day of school, Kushina was laughed at by her classmates and was beaten back. Is it wrong? You are only allowed to laugh at me, but I am not allowed to hit you, right? There is nothing so good in the world. It's not Shizuchi's bragging. In the entire Konoha school, only the boy Naoki can compete with Kushina in the background. Everyone else has to step aside, even the children of the big families. With such a strong background, I am still afraid of a hammer. The most speechless thing for Jingyi is that Kushina has such a background, and as a result, she was bullied frequently when she was in school. He was ridiculed and bullied by his classmates, and he fought back when he couldn't bear it. He was also retaliated by his brother. I really don't know who gave him the courage. It's noisy. Tsunade's blood pressure began to soar with anger. He also threatened the teacher, saying that her sister is Tsunade. The teacher didn't dare to touch her at all. That's right, aren't you her sister? Jingyi spread her hands and said, when the relationship is fine, she is Tsunade's sister, but when there is trouble, she is not the sister? What the hell? Tsunade was so stunned that a mouthful of old blood spurted out. Go to the ninja school right away and take care of this matter. If you cause it yourself, deal with it yourself. Tsunade felt like her brain was about to explode. The hospital is fine, but the medical department is in a lot of trouble. Because of the reform of the F4 team, the medical department is very busy. Tsunade didn't have much time to care about other things. No, Kushina is not my sister. Jingyi decisively refused the job. It's not that he doesn't want to help Kushina, but it's this kind of nonsense. If he comes forward, the other party will never let go easily, even if it is on behalf of Tsunade. You can't threaten other people's parents. The son was beaten by Kushina, and the parents came to ask for an explanation, and then they were also beaten? If you don't go, why don't you teach her to use fists? Tsunade wanted to hit someone. Why don't you wait to be bullied if you don't use your fists? Shizuchi looked at Tsunade in confusion. What kind of brain circuit do you have? You don't really think that Kushina can easily integrate into the village by doing this. You think it's a trivial matter for children to fight, but others don't think so. Kushina was bullied at school. After being beaten up by Kushina, who was so angry, she called people at home to help her, and she was ashamed. Tsunade-sama, Shizuchi-kun, there are patients outside. A little nurse ran to the door of the lounge. Jingyi immediately walked outside. Come on, I will take over this patient, no one can compete with me. Go to a ninja school to fight? It's impossible. You, Tsunade, have to take action in person to do this. Only if you take action in person can you be a deterrent. If you don't wait for me, I will deal with you sooner or later. Staring at Jingyi's back fiercely, Tsunade silently threw a pile of documents in her hand on the table, turned around and left the hospital, heading towards the ninja school. Who are the parents of this child? I want to have a serious talk with him. What did my son do wrong? To do such a heavy hand. When his son was beaten, Honda's father, Honda, was very angry and ran directly to the ninja school, hoping that the teacher would give him an explanation. Don't be angry, this incident is not entirely Kushina's fault. Sarutobi Yugi returned to school from the hospital with a big head. If something like this happened in his class, the other parent would definitely come to him immediately. Kushina apologized to Honda's father quickly. Sarutobi Isamu comforted the other party while asking Kushina to apologize. I don't. Kushina raised her head and turned her head to the side. Jingyi was right, such childish little devils should be beaten hard with their fists. Kushina doesn't think she did anything wrong either. My aunt, can't you apologize first? Kushina refused to apologize, and Sarutobi Isamu wanted to die. Why did such a bad thing happen to him? It's over. This time the Outstanding Teacher Award will definitely not be awarded to me, and the year-end bonus will also be ruined. Teacher Mu-young, look, this kid has no manners at all. Lo Ben said angrily and incoherently. Dad Honda, don't be angry first, you. Bump. Sarutobi Isamu was trying hard to comfort the other party, but the door to the office was pushed open hard and hit the wall hard, shocking everyone in the office. Who is this, so rude? His body shook subconsciously, and Sarutobi Muyong looked at the door dissatisfied. When he saw the person at the door clearly, all dissatisfaction disappeared, his face changed into a smile, and he quickly walked forward and said, "Hello, Tsunade-sama, why are you here in person?" "It's over, Sister Tsunade came over in person." Kushina lowered her head with guilt and did not dare to look at Tsunade. "My sister was bullied on the first day of school. Can't I come and demand an explanation?" Tsunade walked into the office expressionlessly. "Explain?" Sarutobi opened his mouth and wanted to say something. "The problem is that it was Kushina who hit the person. You were the one who said my sister was rude just now, right?" Tsunade walked up to Lao Honda and stared at him with unkind eyes. "Who the hell are you? Does my sister have any manners and I need you to tell me what to do?" No, this is a misunderstanding." From the moment Tsunade walked into the office, everyone was stunned. In Konoha, the third Hokage and Tsunade are the most famous. Most people know them. After all, one is a contemporary Hokage, and the other is the eldest daughter of the Senju clan, a Hokage disciple, and a Konoha official. Princess. It's hard not to recognize him. My son actually bullied Tsunade's sister? This damn boy must be taken care of when he gets back. Tsunade frowned and looked at Honda, who was sweating profusely. "Your son was beaten, don't you want to explain?" No. Lao Honda said nervously with a smile, "This brat is so outrageous that he actually bullied his classmates at school. I will definitely educate him well, and please rest assured Tsunade, this will never happen again. Occur. It's okay if you don't. I thought I would ask my brother to go to the lower grade classroom to have a heart-to-heart talk with him. It seems you are very aware. Not bad, very good." Standing aside, Sarutobi Muyu looked at Lao Honda, who kept nodding and bowing, and couldn't help but roll his eyes. Episode 16, Rope Tree. Don't you think your home is deserted? Weren't you angry just now? Keep going. Please give your son an explanation. The rightful owner is here. Why are you so timid? After taking care of the other parent, Tsunade waved to Kushina and asked her to come to her. "Tsunade-san." Kushina smiled, looking very guilty. "I'll deal with you later." Walking out of the teacher's office, Kushina hugged Tsunade's arm and shook her. "I'm sorry, Sister Tsunade, they laughed at me for having red hair and called me a little pepper. I couldn't help myself so I beat that kid." Okay. Tsunade said with a headache, "I knew it would be bad for you and Jingyi to get together. That kid has a poisonous mouth. Don't listen to him in the future. Forget it today, go back and have a good rest. Get up early tomorrow for class. If this happens again in the future, don't do anything in class, you know? That's not how you hit someone. Beating someone in class in front of the teacher and the whole class is still a sneak attack. This is very bad, Kushina. Even if you beat him after class, it wouldn't be that serious." Yeah. Kushina nodded obediently and agreed. "Then can I go to Jingyi's house? He is moving to a new house today, and I want to go and play." "Go ahead, as long as you don't get bored. He won't be able to go home until after get off work." Tsunade did not refuse Kushina's request. "Just have fun, there is no way to continue the class in this situation today." "Okay. Sister Tsunade, you are the best. Come on, I'm almost mad. You listen to whatever that be ********** D Jingyi says, and you believe whatever he says. It's more effective than what my sister says. He even mocks me. It's okay, Sister Tsunade. If something happens, it's not. Sister, I'm so angry." These words were like a knife stabbing Tsunade's lungs. Tsunade was so angry. "Is my mother as bad as you say? Really?" Kushina was very surprised. She couldn't believe that Jingyi would be so hostile to Tsunade. "Is it a lie? That boy feels sorry for you, so he just sprayed it in my face." Tsunade raised her hand and tapped Kushina on the forehead. "Ugh, it hurts." Kushina held her forehead pitifully. "Stop pretending to be pitiful." Tsunade was unmoved because she didn't use any force at all. "Wait, where are you going?" "Buying groceries." Kushina clasped her little hands behind her back. "Shizuchi has to go to work alone, and he doesn't have time to go to the market. Sister Tsunade won't help with shopping, so I'm going to the market to buy groceries." Tsunade's head was covered with black lines. "Because it sounds like she is a freeloader." "Well, Tsunade is a freeloader. I subconsciously touched my pocket and found that there were only a few steel buckles in my pocket, so I gave up the idea of paying for groceries. Your pocket is cleaner than your face, so let's continue to eat for free. Then be careful. I'm going to work in the medical department, and there are a lot of messy things waiting for me to deal with. With Umbu's people protecting Kushina, there must be no problem with safety. After Tsunade and Kushina separated, they went directly to the medical department. As for Konoha Hospital, she didn't want to go there for the time being, because she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to hold back and beat Jingyi up. This bastard keeps talking in a heart-wrenching way. Didn't I tell you not to buy groceries? There are so many things at home, and I will buy them myself. After get off work, Jing came home and saw several large bags on the floor. Tsunade's sister went to school and brought me back. I went to the market on the way. Kushina raised her little fist arrogantly. Today that guy laughed at me and called me Little Pepper. I knocked out one of his front teeth. I'm pretty awesome. Ha ha ha, awesome. Jingyi burst into laughter and gave Kushina a thumbs up. You did a great job, just call them over. Don't worry about the serious consequences. You have to understand that in Konoha, it's a good thing if you, Kushina, don't bully others. Now, how can anyone bully you? By the way, Tsunade didn't scold you, did she? No, but Sister Tsunade asked me not to listen to you. Don't listen, ahem, Kushina, what do you want to eat? Would you like some noodles tonight? Jingyi was about to complain a few words when he noticed someone arriving, so he changed the topic. Hasn't dinner started yet? Tsunade was dizzy and felt like half of her life was gone. She walked into the room and collapsed on the sofa without any image. Kushina and I are going to eat ramen. Is teaching students so tiring? Bring me something for 3 people. I want to have a good meal. Tsunade was still weak. Kushina said worriedly, Sister Tsunade, are you okay? Don't mention it. Tsunade Anhue felt the anger in her heart. I have never seen such a stupid student. After teaching all day, he couldn't learn anything. I'm so angry. Tsunade had never been a patient person. On the contrary, she is impatient, even irritable. Let her teach the students patiently. It's okay if the process goes smoothly. If it doesn't go well, things will go in another direction. Poor Tsunade Heim. After 3 seconds of silence for Tsunade, Jingyi picked up the bag on the floor and walked into the kitchen. Kushina thought about it tangledly, and then ran with Jingyi sincerely. She felt that Tsunade should be allowed to calm down. It's somewhat dangerous to get close at this time. Among the future Sannin, the one who has the most patience to teach his disciples is Jiraiya. It is hard to imagine that Jiraiya, who is usually unreliable and incompetent at everything, can actually become a good teacher. Orochimaru also has a high talent for education, but his educational methods are as scary as his personality. But that was after Naoki died, and before Naoki died, Orochimaru hadn't completely walked into the darkness. In Jing's family, 3 people sat together and ate noodles with great enthusiasm. Senju's ancestral home, Uzumaki Mito looked at the empty table and couldn't help but sigh. Grandma, what's wrong with you? Shengshu, who was taking a big bite of rice, stopped and looked at Grandma, who was not using her chopsticks, in confusion. Nawaki, don't you think it's a little deserted during the meal? As he got older, Uzumaki Mito still felt like he was surrounded by his grandchildren. Unfortunately, Tsunade often doesn't go home for dinner recently, and the same goes for Kushina. Is there any? Shengshu picked up a chicken leg and showed a clear and cute look. No, if sister is not here, no one will compete with me for delicious food. Uzumaki Mito. It's not unreasonable for your sister to say you are stupid and beat you often. If Uzumaki Mito were a few years younger, I would definitely catch this grandson and beat him up first. Kushina didn't come back for dinner either. She said that the food cooked by Hyuga Jingyi was delicious and I must try it some other time. Nashu talked non-stop. Uzumaki Mito felt even more heartbroken after hearing this. Old lady, I feel deserted without my granddaughter. Now my grandson wants to run away too? It seems like we need to talk to Tsunade. It's night. Forced to work overtime, Tsunade dragged her tired body home. What surprised her was that her grandma Uzumaki Mito hadn't rested yet. Grandma, can't you sleep? Uzumaki Mito glanced at his granddaughter. I am the only one left in the whole family with this silly boy named Naoki. Can I still sleep, old lady? Forehead. Is it because I came back too late? Grandma, I will come back early tomorrow to accompany you. No, just ask Jingyi to come over tomorrow. Uzumaki Mito's tone became a little stiff. You and Kushina like to have dinner together? Well, the old woman will directly cut off your access to food and see if you can come back. If Jingyi is not at home, Kushina will definitely stay at home. As for Tsunade, she lost all her previous salary and her pockets were empty. If she didn't go home to eat, she would be hungry. Uzumaki Mito believed that her granddaughter would come back to eat. Looking at Grandma's leaving figure, Tsunade asked doubtfully, "Did I say something wrong?" Episode 17, Mission Entrustment, Collecting Animal Carcasses. Mito-sama, do you want to see me? Yes, you said you would come with me after get off work. I don't know what Grandma wants to do. It may be because of Kushina's affairs. Be careful when you go there. After telling Jingyi to leave with him after get off work, Tsunade hurriedly left. There are still too many things waiting for her to deal with in the medical department. Strangeness. Jingyi was a little confused. If something happened, he could have gone there now instead of waiting to go to Senju's ancestral home with Tsunade after get off work. This is likely to lead to unnecessary misunderstandings. It was foreseeable that as long as he went to Senju's ancestral home and met Uzumaki Mito, the Hokage office would definitely be uneasy. Because Uzumaki Mito's identity is so special, every move affects the nerves of third Hokage and others. Forget it, why are you thinking so much? It was Uzumaki Mito who wanted to see him, not him who took the initiative to come to see him. In that case, why worry about these things? It only adds trouble to yourself. In the lounge, Jingyi assembled various materials, and a brand new puppet was born in his hands. Maybe it's because it's the first time I made it, but the appearance of the puppet is a bit ugly. It's so ugly. Jingyi knew that he had succeeded in making a puppet for the first time, but he was also disappointed. He got a defective product that he couldn't even stand. Even if puppets are used as consumables, they should not be made too abstract. People do not look like humans, and animals do not look like animals. After studying for a while, Jingyi couldn't stand it anymore and decisively dismantled the puppet. It was the cheapest material anyway, so he didn't feel bad if it was damaged. It's better to damage some materials than to make a bunch of ugly things. Taking apart the puppet, Jingyi began to summarize herself. After a while, Jingyi realized that he had entered a misunderstanding. There are very few puppet masters in Konoha. They are as rare as the giant pandas in the previous life. There are also very few related books and scrolls. They are basically obtained from Sand Shinobi Village through various means. The puppets produced by Sand Shinobi Village are strangely shaped. Because the puppets need to have various functions and attack methods, the puppets produced are not beautiful at all. Shizuchi is not a puppet master, and there is no need to make puppets in the style of Sand Shinobi Village. With the reincarnation eye, he doesn't even need to control the puppet and give it life. It's enough to directly give orders. Therefore, the puppet does not need to have so many functions, nor does it need to add all kinds of messy parts. With an idea in mind, Jingyi continued to assemble it. Soon, a humanoid puppet no more than 50 centimeters tall stood on the table. The materials on hand are limited, and the final product is not satisfactory. Just look for opportunities to buy more parts and materials. And there is no need to pursue humanoid puppets. You can also use some powerful animal carcasses to make puppets. This seems to be a good idea. There are too few puppet masters in Konoha, and the materials are relatively expensive. Coupled with the influence of the general environment, anyone who uses the corpses of ninjas to make puppets in Konoha will definitely be labeled as dark. Jingyi was not interested in using ninja corpses to make puppets. Compared with the corpses of ninjas, those powerful animals in the ninja world are undoubtedly the best choice, and they are also very mobile and can also be used as mounts. After making up her mind, Jingyi decided to collect some animal carcasses. After lunch, Jingyi came to the Hokage office building and issued a task to collect animal carcasses. The reward for the task was linked to the strength of the animal. Because of the influence of chakra, there are many powerful creatures in the ninja world. For example, a wild boar the size of a house, a giant snake the size of a train, and a bird that spreads its wings like a fighter jet. Such creatures are not uncommon in the ninja world, and there are even a lot of them. Konoha releases some related tasks every year, asking the ninjas in the village to clean up these creatures. In addition to their strong strength and huge size, these creatures also have another characteristic, that is, their meat is not delicious. If you accept a cleanup mission, you will only choose to kill it. After taking part of the body to prove that you have completed the mission, you will discard the rest. The corpses of these creatures are worthless except for a little research value. After releasing the task, Jingyi returned to the hospital to work. Sir Hokage, this is a mission commission compiled by the mission department today. The mission department will sort out the daily missions and send them to the Hokage office for screening by the third Hokage. For important tasks, the third Hokage will personally dispatch a suitable ninja team to carry out them. For unimportant tasks, they will be left to the mission department and will be sent by the village. The ninjas are free to pick up. For ninjas, the income from tasks and commissions can support many ninjas. Even in Konoha, once a large number of external tasks and commissions are lost, more than half of the ninjas in the village will face unemployment and hunger. Because ninjas are not engaged in production, and the village does not have so many positions to support so many ninjas. Too many failed tasks and commissions have affected credibility. If the number of external tasks and commissions decreases, it will be a disaster for those ninjas who rely on executing tasks and commissions to survive. This is why, even during a war, even if the fighting on the front line is tight, the village will dispatch a group of ninjas to carry out tasks and commissions. No matter the small ninja village or the 5 major ninja villages, they cannot lose the relevant credibility or put down the task entrustment. Sand Shinobi Village has become poorer and poorer since the Second Ninja War. The fundamental reason is that the daimyo was angry and thought that his investment was wasted. He believed that Sand Shinobi Village was not strong enough, so he reduced his investment in Sand Shinobi Village. Village investment. He also handed over a large number of tasks and commissions from the Kingdom of Wind to Konoha. This directly led to Sand Shinobi Village falling into a situation of tightening its belt. Therefore, Third Hokage attaches great importance to the tasks entrusted by the task department, and will sort them out personally every day. Simple tasks with low rewards are left to the task department. For tasks that require attention, he selects a suitable team to carry out. As usual, Third Hokage quickly screened various tasks, but when he selected one of the tasks, the hand holding the file paused. Collect a large number of powerful creature corpses. The task rewards are linked to the animal corpses. This task is valid for a long time. The third Hokage read out the mission content with a pipe in his mouth, then stared at the mission poster and fell into deep thought. Hyuga Jingyi. Why did this kid issue such a mission to collect the corpses of powerful creatures for a long time? Is it for research? Jingyi applied to study in the medical department, and the reason for becoming a medical ninja was stated in the report, which was to treat bloodstains. It is not surprising that such a move is carried out in order to cure diseases. Many ninjas even do some experiments in order to study ninjutsu and improve their strength. Orochimaru often does such things. A long-term mission, this is definitely a boon to the village and its ninjas, and it is also a mission to collect the corpses of powerful creatures. After thinking for a while, the third Hokage said to the people in the mission department, "Go to the medical department and ask Tsunade to see this document. By the way, ask Hyuga Shizuchi to confirm the corresponding rewards for various biological corpses." Episode 18, Tsunade intercepts who as a middleman. Yes, Lord Hokage. The people from the mission department left the Hokage office and rushed to the medical department as quickly as possible. As for why he asked Tsunade first instead of asking Jingyi directly for confirmation, the ninjas in the mission department didn't think much about it. Lord Hokage gives an order and that's it. Why do you think so much? If you want to become a qualified medical ninja, a large amount of accumulated knowledge and accurate chakra mastery are basic conditions. I still say the same thing, you need to read more books, study more, and train harder. Don't enter the medical department thinking that you can become the second Hyuga Shizuchi. There are not many people like him in the entire ninja world. Tsunade-sama, there are ninjas from the mission department looking for you. Tsunade was teaching a class to a group of newcomers. After being reminded by her colleagues, she walked out of the classroom and rubbed her aching temples. She felt that she was losing a lot of brain cells every day. Teaching students is really difficult. Compared with the previous model of learning in person and teaching step by step, this open assembly line education is simply a kind of torture. Tsunade-sama. The mission department ninjas saluted respectfully and said hello. Tsunade waved her hands, a little impatiently. Okay, don't do this, tell me what you want from me. Master Hokage asked you to take a look at this document, and then negotiate with Hyuga Jingyi. After the standard of the mission reward is set, I will go back to the Hokage daimyo to reply. The mission department ninja handed over a document. What's the mess? Jingyi, a bastard, went to release a mission. Tsunade took the file, opened it and read it. It's true. However, this task was not released rigorously, and even the basic standard remuneration was not determined. A long-lasting mission? For such a task, the level would probably be determined by the collected biological corpses. What Jingyi wanted was a powerful biological corpse. In other words, the task rating will not be very low. The task rating is not low, which means that the reward will be higher than ordinary tasks. In addition, it is a long-term mission, which will cause Jingyi to spend a lot of money on this mission. Jingyi has a small savings, but not much. Tsunade will not doubt that he can't get paid, because medical ninjas are really profitable. As long as Jingyi doesn't have any money-burning hobbies, there is absolutely no problem in paying him with his income. You come with me. After closing the file, Tsunade took the ninjas from the mission department and rushed to the hospital next door, just as Shizuchi just walked out of the ward. Tsunade motioned him to the lounge to talk. Entering the lounge, Tsunade shut the door of the mission department ninjas without ceremony and asked seriously, "Do you want to do experiments and research?" No. Jingyi was still wondering, "Why are you so serious?" "I just issued a task. Even if it is a long-term task, my income must be enough to pay the remuneration." "Then why did you issue a mission to collect the corpses of powerful creatures? To make a puppet, you shouldn't use the corpse of a ninja to make a puppet." "I have no interest in attacking the corpse of a ninja." Jingyi wouldn't think anything of using animal carcasses as puppets, but if it were replaced by a human being, he wouldn't be able to accept it. "I don't want to turn myself into a person who likes to tossing corpses." "Okay, as long as you are interested, I will help you decide the task rating directly, so that the old man can take advantage of you." Tsunade was a little worried before she came. He was afraid that Shizuchi would become the second Orochimaru. Although the current Orochimaru is not the darkened Uncle Snake in the future, Orochimaru likes to tossing corpses no longer just a day or two, and all his income and rewards are invested in this. As long as Jingyi doesn't want to study corpses and do some messy experiments, that's enough. Is it weird that a corpse is needed to make a puppet? If you don't use ninja corpses to do it, you can already stick to the bottom line. You go back and tell the old man that I have taken over this task. You don't have to go through the Hokage office anymore. When playing the gate of opening, Tsunade directly signaled to the ninjas in the mission department that you can get out of the way. This mission does not require the Hokage office building to worry about. Ah. The ninja from the mission department who was still waiting to return his orders was stunned. "Tsunade-sama, You think I'm not qualified?" No, that's not what I meant, it's just that it's a bit against the rules." "Then I don't care. Just go back and tell the old man the truth. You don't need to worry about anything else." "Yes." The mission department ninja left with a sad face. Jingyi didn't expect that Tsunade would take over this matter. "Don't tell me that you want to go on this mission." There is no need to question that Tsunade is poor, but her income is absolutely high. Being poor is just because she can't control herself and loses all her income. If Tsunade really ran to carry out this mission, she would definitely lose the watermelon and pick up the sesame seeds. How is that possible? Do you think I look like a fool? Tsunade glared at Shizuchi angrily. Then what did you do with the task? Jingyi really doesn't understand Tsunade's actions. It's not cost-effective for me to carry out the mission myself, but I can get a commission. Good guy. This is probably a case of picking on third Hokage. Under Jingyi's stunned eyes, Tsunade felt a little embarrassed. I have been relatively poor recently, so I want to make some extra money. Don't worry, I will definitely find you the most suitable person. That guy is the best at doing these things. Tsunade was very poor, and she only had a few steel hoops left in her pocket. She likes to eat at Jing's family. In addition to having a good relationship and the delicious food Jingyi cooks, it also has something to do with her poverty. Eating is only a small problem, the big deal is just go home and eat. The biggest problem is having no money and having itchy hands. Passing by the casino every day, Tsunade felt uncomfortable all over. So she desperately wanted to make some extra money, preferably fast enough, so the opportunity came to her door. As for whether the third Hokage has any ideas, Tsunade doesn't really care. It's just a mission, and Tsunadeheim still has this privilege. Okay, you can take care of the arrangements yourself. When the materials are delivered, I will pay you. If Tsunade wants to make a fortune, then let her go. Anyway, it is impossible for Shizuchi to give money first, especially to Tsunade. This B*****ch will bite her thighs if she has money in her pocket. I will never give up until I lose everything. No problem, just prepare the money. After making a promise to Shizuchi, Tsunade hurriedly left the hospital and went directly to Orochimaru's research laboratory. Orochimaru, I have something to ask you. It's a good thing. Is this what you call a good thing? Orochimaru glanced at the broken door that had been kicked open and the scrapped equipment on the test bench. He had lost at least tens of thousands of silver just because of Tsunade's kick. Tsunade is poor and Orochimaru is not rich either. One likes to gamble, and the other likes to do research. The former is a deep pit, and there is no way back. The latter can make back the money, and even bring huge profits, but the prerequisite is that a huge amount of money needs to be invested. 500,000, this task belongs to you. Taking out the mission scroll and throwing it to Orochimaru, Tsunade opened her mouth like a lion. Episode 19, Hyuga's first visit to Senju's ancestral home, hee. 500,000 taels. Orochimaru didn't know where Tsunade had such confidence and dared to ask for such a commission. So after taking the scroll, he opened it and read it. Hyuga Jingyi, that disciple you brought? I remember that he suffers from blood-stained degeneration. Orochimaru has a very good memory, and when he saw the signature, he thought of Shizuchi. I didn't have any disciples. I just took him as a disciple when I had time. It turns out that this kid's talent is so good that it far exceeded my expectations. Speaking of Jingyi, Tsunade was inevitably a little proud. Although there is no clear master-disciple relationship, Shizuchi is always the one she brought out from Tsunade Heim. He could barely be considered her disciple, but he was still someone she recognized, and he was worth showing off. He needs a lot of animal carcasses for experiments? When Orochimaru saw the mission content, he thought he had found his soulmate. As a result, Tsunade shook her head and said, "No, this kid has recently become obsessed with puppets." As soon as he opened his mouth, he said that he was a weak medical ninja and suffered from blood-stained disease, so he needed to make some puppets to protect himself. The corpses of these animals are all materials for making puppets. Compared with the corpses of ninjas and those expensive parts, animal corpses are more suitable. Puppet? This was a bit beyond Orochimaru's expectations. What level is needed? Orochimaru put the scroll away and put it in his arms. Tsunade was right, Orochimaru was one of the more suitable candidates to carry out this task. It's quick and easy, and you can also make a lot of money. Even if you give Tsunade a lot of commission, you can still make a lot of money. It's a very cost-effective deal. It's much easier than running out to perform high-level tasks. In the dense forests of the Land of Fire, there are many strange and powerful creatures. Tsunade said, the stronger the better, the types should not be too single, and don't bring a bunch of messy snakes over. Good. Orochimaru agreed, then raised 2 fingers to Tsunade. 200,000? Tsunade said displeasedly, Orochimaru, don't go too far. Is there anyone who bargains like you? Then I'll go find Sarutobi-sensei and take the mission directly from the Hokage office. 500,000? It's impossible. I'll give you at most 200,000 yuan to let you enjoy the game. If you're not willing, I'll just go to the Hokage office and bypass you. You. Tsunade was so angry that she wanted to hit someone. Okay, 200,000 taels, I'll pay you right away. 200,000 taels, buying a long-term cooperation mission, would be a worthwhile gain for Orochimaru. He didn't know how much money Shizuchi had. The reward for working diligently at Konoha Hospital alone was enough to cover the reward for this task, provided that he, Orochimaru, could take it easy. If he exerts too much force, Jingyi's income will definitely not be enough. Orochimaru understands the principle of slow water flowing slowly. It doesn't matter if you owe the debt first, just pay it off slowly. As long as the person who owes the money is not Tsunade, everything will be easy. Making money is the second priority. Orochimaru also wants to get to know Jingyi. There's no telling if the two of them can be kindred spirits. As long as Jingyi still wants to cure his blood-stained disease, he will inevitably embark on the path of experimentation and research. Then his opportunity will come. A good experimental subject is hard to find. The blood-stained disease of the Hyuga clan must be very interesting. It was time to get off work, and the patients had been arranged. Jingyi and Tsunade left the hospital together. Compared to the depression of the Hyuga tribe and the liveliness of the Uchiha tribe, the Senju ancestral home is very deserted and depressed. In order to prevent the possibility of the civilian tribesmen gathering together, Senju Tobarama, a ruthless man, directly broke up all the civilian tribesmen and dispersed them to various areas of the village. The area of Senju's ancestral home has also become one of the most heavily guarded areas in Konoha, which has directly stopped some people from wanting to revive. If the scattered tribesmen want to restore the glory of the Senju tribe, they must have the leadership of the ancestral family. Now, the two sides are completely isolated, and the die-hard faction has been completely eliminated. This has marked the beginning of the civilianization of the Senju tribe. A full stop. It's pretty deserted. Seeing Shizuchi looking around curiously, Tsunade sighed. In order to prevent Hokage from becoming the exclusive rights of the family, the second grandfather was forced to break up the family and democratize it, leaving only the ancestral family lineage and abandoning the surname Senju. No one lives in the surrounding area now, only a few people from the main line are left. Second generation is a courageous person. Although Jingyi also felt that Senju Tobirama was too cruel to his own people, he had to admit that Senju Tobirama was a courageous person. In the entire Konoha, he was the only one who could do this. Second grandpa also has difficulties. Grandma said that if we don't do this, the Hokage inheritance will be unfair, and the village will be dominated by the Senju family. This goes against grandpa's will. When the family became a common people, they encountered too many people's opposition, but the second grandfather still did it. When Tsunade was a child, she didn't understand this. She only knew that the second grandfather, who looked prim and serious, actually doted on her and loved her very much. He always let her do whatever she wanted, even if he was very impatient. At that time, Tsunade also felt that the second grandfather was a bit too much. When I grew up, I realized that Senju Tobirama was right. The Senju clan has reached its peak of prosperity. If changes are not made soon, the entire Konoha ninja village will become an exclusive village for the Senju clan. All civilians and ninja families will become affiliated families of the Senju clan. It may even cause some terrible disasters. The Senju clan, which was in its heyday, naturally wanted the village to become a family hall, and all poor people in ninja families became affiliated with the Senju clan. The civilians are okay, can those ninja families agree? We all work together to build a ninja village and build an equal home, but you, the Senju clan, want us to be servants? Some small families may not be able to resist, but large families such as Hyuga, Uchiha, Sarutobi, Shimura, and Inagacho are certainly unwilling. So Senju Tobirama is faced with a difficult choice. Either break up the family and wipe out the Senju clan at its peak using special methods, or let the Senju clan continue to grow, eventually forcing all other ninja families to unite to resist. In the end, Senju Tobirama chose to civilianize the family. Based on the situation at that time, it would have been better if the second Hokage were from other families and could suppress the arrogance of the Senju clan. However, the first generation and the second generation were both members of the Senju clan. It was inevitable that the ambitions of the Senju clan would begin to expand. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama can still suppress the clan members when they are there, but once they are gone, there will definitely be trouble. Even whether Sarutobi Hiruzen can become the third Hokage is still a question mark. Grandma, I'm back. When she walked into the door of the house, Tsunade called out first, and Shizuchi followed Tsunade into the courtyard. The eyes of the Umbu ninjas responsible for protecting Senju's ancestral home widened. Is this Hyuga? Why did he come to Senju's ancestral home? Go and report to Lord Hokage. Even if he can be regarded as half one of his own, Shizuchi belongs to the Hyuga clan after all. His coming to Senju's ancestral home will definitely attract the attention of the Hokage office. Back. Uzumaki Mito, who was sitting in the yard, responded with a smile, and then began to look at Shizuchi, who was standing next to Tsunade. Mito-sama, I am Hyuga Shizuchi. Nice to meet you. Shizuchi still admires Uzumaki Mito. This is an old man worthy of respect. You look good, no wonder Tsunade and Kushina are willing to get close to you. Uzumaki Mito smiled and joked. Episode 20. Uzumaki Mito's good intentions. Tsunade, who was about to go back to the room, stumbled and turned back dissatisfied to protest. Grandma, what are you talking about? This is a bit difficult to say. Jingyi could only wink at Tsunade and ask her to come to the rescue quickly and stop thinking about changing clothes. I can't stand this old man. In order to prevent Grandma from saying scary words, Tsunade could only run back to save the situation. Grandma, I brought him back. If you have anything to do with him, just tell him directly. He is a member of the Hyuga clan after all. He has been here for a long time, and he will definitely not be able to sit down in the Hokage office building. If you hadn't been running towards other people's homes every day, how would I be like this, old lady? Mito Uzumaki didn't care what the people at the Hokage office building thought. Others may be unstable, but third Hokage is different. Even if he is anxious to death, he will wait patiently. Miko is not feeling well today. Tsunade, please prepare something to entertain the guests. Are you sure you're not kidding? I can't even eat the food I cooked. Tsunade's eyes widened and she pointed at herself. Do you want me to cook for you, old lady? Uzumaki Mito angrily punched the ground twice with his cane, and said dissatisfied, Naruto and Kushina are about to finish school, and they will prepare to eat when they get back. Just kill me. I knew I wouldn't go home. Etc. My cooking doesn't taste good and I can't eat it. Isn't there a ready helper here? Tsunade looked back at Jingyi, then grabbed Jingyi's hand and walked towards the kitchen. No, you want me to help? Whenever guests come to the door, they rush to cook. Yes, it's you. Tsunade couldn't help but said, grabbing Jingyi's hand and dragging him towards the kitchen. That's not appropriate. It's suitable, why isn't it suitable? If I, Tsunade, say it's suitable, then it's no problem. Why do I feel like I've been D? Does Uzumaki Mito want to see me just to ask me to help cook a meal? It shouldn't be. Jingyi was a little confused as to what the old man was thinking, but the other party didn't say anything about him. So Jingyi came to the kitchen in a daze and looked at the materials on the floor in a daze. It seems that I am well prepared and just waiting for help. The kitchen started to get busy. Tsunade looked for an opportunity to escape. Grandma, we have brought people back, you should tell me why. Old woman, can I still harm a child? Uzumaki Mito sat on the recliner and expressed that he didn't understand what you were talking about. Grandmother. Tsunade was anxious. Your identity is inherently sensitive. The slightest movement can affect the nerves in the Hokage office. Although Jingyi has been recognized by us, he is a member of the Hyuga clan after all. You let him come home, come on, the old man will definitely think too much. Monkeys can't. Uzumaki Mito smiled confidently. When he was young, the third Hokage was a qualified Hokage, with strength, skill, patience, and courage. Don't worry, the old woman has no other ideas. She just wants to make the house lively. After all, when people get old, they are afraid that the house will be deserted. Monkeys will not focus on the child just because of such a trivial matter. That's it? Just to make your home livelier? Tsunade was stunned. The old man might not think twice about it, but what about everyone else? Tsunade knew very well what kind of weird people the F4 group was. Danzo Shimura, who is full of ambition, Koharu, who is petty in bed, and Mito Mano, who likes to take advantage of everything. Even if third Hokage can sit still, these people will become nervous. Focusing your attention on Jingyi will inevitably cause some trouble for Jingyi. Tsunade. Uzumaki Mito took his granddaughter's hand and sighed. Some things have been unavoidable since he appeared next to you, not to mention that he and Kushina are relatively close, and those people's eyes will fall on him sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. Old woman, I'm still alive and can still stabilize the situation. Do you understand? It was better to be stared at earlier than later. Now that she was being stared at, Mito Uzumaki was still there, so it wouldn't lead to any big trouble. Grandma, aren't you worried? After all, he is from the Hyuga clan. Tsunade gestured and finally chose to give up. She didn't know what to say, but what Uzumaki Mito said made sense. Since it couldn't be avoided, it should be done in advance. Now that Uzumaki Mito is here, he can stabilize the Hokage office. If this happens after she leaves, it will be really troublesome. Uzumaki Mito believes that he can still hold on for a few more years. The past few years can be regarded as a period of rapid growth for Shizuchi. If a few years later, when she is gone, Jingyi still needs someone to protect her, it can only be said that both she and Tsunade have misjudged the person. Hyuga Tennin? A flash of disdain flashed in Uzumaki Mito's cloudy eyes. Just him? He doesn't dare, and would even take the initiative to leave it alone, because that's the virtue of the Hyuga clan. The dignified leader of the Hyuga clan was devalued as worthless by Uzumaki Mito. Grandma, we are back. Naoki and Kushina ran back with small school bags on their backs, and Tsunade and Uzumaki Mito stopped the topic. You're back? Let Grandma take a look. Uzumaki Mito raised his hand happily, and Naoki subconsciously wanted to throw himself into Grandma's arms, but before he could get close, his ear was caught. Ouch, it hurts, sister, what are you doing? Go aside. Tsunade grabbed Naoshu's ears and cursed angrily, "You are so old, and you still crawl into grandma's arms, are you ashamed?" The rope tree was taken away, and Kushina from behind smoothly jumped into the arms of Uzumaki Mito. "Are you happy at school today? Did anyone bully you?" Mito Uzumaki asked happily, holding Kushina in his arms. Kushina hummed and raised her head, "No, Grandma Mito, I am very strong. Anyone who dares to bully me will be beaten hard. Hokage does a lot of harm to people." Seeing Kushina disappearing on the road of violence, Tsunade helplessly covered her face.